Epigraphs of Into the Wild, Episode 2. Let's go! Alright, so the first epigraph of this episode that we will be talking about is from Chapter 2, and it's called The Stampede Trail. And Alexander Supertramp writes, Jack London is king, which was carved into a piece of wood near his death site. And underneath, there is a quote from Jack London and Whitefang, and I would read it, but it's really long, and I don't want to read it, so we're not going to read it today. Alright, so in this epigraph, Jack London has written a short section about nature, specifically during the winter time, and it talks a lot about like the winter scene and snow and frozen waterway and all that good stuff. And basically, I think that Krakauer put this epigraph into the book because it really, not only did Alexander or Chris McCandless talk about this on a piece of wood near where he died, but it's also very similar to what the book is about because it's talking about nature and winter time, which is about the time that Chris was in the magic bus. And I think it just really fits the overall story very well, and that's why it was put into the book. Alright, so the second epigraph that I will be talking about in this episode is Chapter 8, and it's titled Alaska, and it's a quote from Edward Hoagland, and it says, "We have in America the Big Two-Hearted River tradition, taking your wounds to the wilderness for a cure, a conversion, a rest, or whatever. And as in the Hemingway story, if your wounds aren't too bad, it works. But this isn't Michigan, or Faulkner's Big Woods in Mississippi for that matter. This is Alaska." So I think that Krakauer put this as one of the epigraphs because not only is it talking about nature, but it's also talking about wounds, an internal wound. And I definitely think that Chris has an internal wound throughout the story, and that is his overall reason for wanting to go into the woods. And I think it was just a very, very fitting quote for this book and for Chris McCandless himself and his whole situation with his family and just his overall mental state and his mental health.